we learn from our influences and how paintings, books, contemporary art, music, sound even, can influence our work and our pictures. I go back to the late 70s, to the Andy Warhol flowers. I always loved flowers, and as you probably know, I had the great luck to be able to work with Warhol in the late 70s, and at the time we were working on some of the shopping windows for Bergdorf Goodman, and Warhol made lots of flower cutouts, and we pasted them in the windows and created window sets with the flowers. This was very, very early in my career. Then I developed, but the flowers, they always stayed with me. In 1979, when I was in Paris, when I started doing my first shootings for Chloe, and then my very first shootings for Vogue, I did one of the first test shoots in Andy Warhol's apartment on Rue Cherche Midi, and I had a very good friend of mine. His name was a florist called Mounier Savard. Mounier Savard had an amazing small flower shop at the Place du Palais Bourbon. Place du Palais Bourbon was where the Vogue offices were, and every day I lived on Rue de Constantine, and Place du Palais Bourbon was maybe a 4-minute walk, and on my way home I always picked up flowers. Andy, as well at the time, who lived at Rue Cherche Midi, always went to Mounier Savard and came home with big flower bouquets. So he was kind enough to let me use his apartment for one of my test shoots, and I shot a young girl, and basically the subject was Orientalist paintings, and I had Mounier Savard give me the most amazing flowers. Over the years, I made it a habit to bring flowers home, and we go much farther now. 2 or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, Franca Sozzani from Italian Vogue called me, "Michel, I would like you to photograph 4 amazing tables with 4 chefs, 4 different inspirations, and you basically do whatever you want." I'm a very, 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 very big admirer of Caravaggio's paintings, of his still lifes, especially of the way he used lighting. And I learned a lot that you can basically take a picture with almost nothing. Most of Caravaggio's paintings were lit with candles. He worked late at night. That's why a lot of Caravaggio's paintings have this yellow glow. Then I started to look at some paintings from Bruegel, of Vermeer, and all these artists did this amazing still lifes, including fruit, vegetables, and flowers. So I met with my prop stylist at the time, and I briefed him, and I started creating 4 scenes of 4 different tables with flowers and vegetables and fruit, but flower arrangements became a very, very major part in fashion photography, still life photography. All of you know the amazing still lifes of Irvin Penn, some of the great photographs of Blumenfeld, and Sheila Metzner, a photographer that I really liked in the 80s, Deborah Turbeville. All of these photographers amazingly, Helmut Newton in a very aggressive way used flowers, and Gebundenes, the tulips, the roses. So we were all as a group, from the painter to the photographers, filmmakers, Grande Bouffe, an amazing film. So we all collectively were very influenced by flowers, and I, for myself, used flowers throughout my career in many shootings, and like I said, one of the last ones was the Great Suppers, and I did a variation of a punk supper, of a series of punk girls, and the flowers were dark. It was black roses, dark flowers, and then the other one, I was very inspired by an incredible movie called Lyndon by Stanley Kubrick, and I thought of this amazing scene that was entirely candlelit in the film called Lyndon, with Marisa Berenson in the lead. And these images, they stayed so present that I started to make my mood boards. I collected photographs of paintings, photographs of films, and then I had this amazing Japanese table. Again, I was very inspired by Kubrick and by Kurosawa, and I started to put these tables together, and it was like creating an art installation. And I had a very close friend of mine in Lucerne when I was very young, and I still remember arriving in Lucerne in her house, and this is a picture that I didn't take because very rarely I did not have a camera with me. I arrived in Natalie's house in Lucerne, which was an enormous apartment overlooking the river. I rang the bell and there was no answer, and I pushed the door open and I see into the dining room, and I see Natalie laying naked on a table covered with flowers and fruit, and Salvador Dali feverishly doing a table with my friend Natalie, basically as a set of a film. Now, I wish I had that picture. Now, I think this was one of the moments in my life that reminded me for the future, we shall never leave your house without a camera, always carry a camera. But that scene of this girl, which was like almost a muse, she had another attribute that was very funny. She was a very wealthy young heiress, and she loved motorbikes. She had a dark green Triumph Bonrail, and she had dark green leather outfit, and when spring came up, she used to ride topless throughout Switzerland with her helmet and her green leather pants, driving her Triumph Bonrail. So these are scenes that stay with me, and again, today I have a collaboration that I did. First, another one I did a few years ago when I did my collaboration with the brand Hennessy. We created these rooms and sets in a villa right close to the Hotel du Cap, and flowers and fruit and all these elements were playing a major role in these sets. And for 3 years now I have a project I've been working on in a collaboration with a client of mine in Germany called Bruegel, where we created a campaign called the Garden of Beauty. And basically the first thing I really wanted to do, because they own very, very large buildings and department stores, maybe we can compare them with Barney's in New York or Bergdorf Goodman. And one of my first tasks was basically I wanted to go from outside in. So basically I started creating these images to cover the whole buildings with flowers, and the campaign is called the Garden of Beauty. So maybe this episode today inspired you. I'm incredibly inspired by flowers. Actually, right in the bookshelf behind me is one of the most amazing books by Erwin, Penn Flowers, and I looked at it this morning very early when I got up, and I wanted to share this story with you. So take flowers, make your life more beautiful, make your rooms smell also the fragrance of the flowers. Today I will be speaking about black roses in my next episode, but get a flower, pick a flower, surround yourself with beautiful things, and don't throw the flowers away. You can press the flowers and keep them as book savers. Or you can dry the flowers and hang them upside down and put them on your door. So everything is precious. Make your life precious, and this is my episode for today. Goodbye until tomorrow.